here, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook and Nigeria Info PH on Twitter. My guest, Dr. Emmanuel Wonah, political analyst, lecturer, political science, University of Port Harcourt, senior lecturer, I might add. So you're welcome again. So if you're listening and you have contributions you want to make, you could do that using the WhatsApp numbers 0809 030 6416. We already have a post up for you on Facebook, and we're asking you to tell us if you truly believe whether or not, if politicians decide not to go to tribunal and not to challenge electoral process and victories of different political parties and their candidates, do you think that would foster peace and development in Rivers State? Let us know what the thoughts are quickly. Okay, a few messages on Facebook. Let's just take some of them now. Also, Francis Namani says, is watching from Enugu State. Okay, all right. Say good morning, Ifeemi. What Abe did is a wise decision and should be appreciated accordingly. Chinwendu Onyebuchi says he will be nominated for minister. That is the game. Benjamin Joseph says, good morning, Andrew. Yes, I think it will encourage peace for me. Emmanuel Ebere says, I strongly feel Senator Magnus Abe has been blackmailed or threatened by the ruling party. This same Abe used to stand strong against them. Now standing with them raises a lot of suspicion. He didn't say standing with them, though. He just withdrew his case from the tribunal. That's simple. And he gave his reasons. So if you think you have another reason why you think, yes, that would be speculations. The man has said this is why he's doing what he's doing. Doc, you could already hear what the opinion of some people. Some people think it's laudable. Some people feel it's a good way to go. And some people are even encouraging other political parties and their candidates to do the same so we can all work together to, foster the growth and development of the state. But my question now is, why go to the tribunal in the first place?
Well, in law, there's what is called afterthought. And, the legal process looks at that very seriously, what that means, therefore, is that there's this kind of thought that comes in between, in terms of carrying out an action. Sometimes maybe after an action has been taking place, you now begin to do something contrary to the initial position you had. There are some factors that may have caused that. Like some of those who wrote in said, sometimes it could be that, this man may not have the financial muscle to do that, or could be that a kind of inducement or some kind of threat is not ruled out in the political system in Nigeria. But I think that... So
you do not believe on his... you do not believe in the reason he gave, which is for the development and for the peace and interest of Rivers people?
First of all, going to court, like I said earlier, it's not war front. The fact that you're going to court... In fact, you are even trying to see how you can bring about peace.
But politicians over the years have always said that it is because of all these courts that we go to after elections. It is because, especially in Rivers State. So don't you see in Lagos, after elections, everybody just forgets everything and they work together. That's why Lagos is growing. But in Rivers State, they will go to tribunal, go to court, go to this. That has been the song that we've heard for quite a while now over the years, especially in Rivers State in particular. So now it looks as though if you do that, you are hindering the growth of the state or development of the state. You do not agree?
I don't. That kind of view is just coming from the pit of hell and maybe sheer ignorance. How will you say that because Lagos people didn't go to court, that's why they're developing? It's not a fact that needs to be accepted. But I think that what actually drives development is the man himself, the state of mind of himself. What civic responsibility do you have? Are you civic minded? Those who are in charge. How responsive and responsible are the politicians? How do they uphold the interests of the people? These are the things we need to consider. Not because somebody did not go to court, and that's why you think that development is coming up in that particular.
So you do not believe that?
I don't believe
that. Even as Abe has decided to withdraw the petition, if other politicians do the same, we still might not have development.
Exactly. If the requisite mindset in terms of actually being responsive and responsible to the yearnings and aspirations of Rivers people, it will not also come.
But you would agree that it causes some sort of distraction to the government?
No. But you know that this transition program has time period for you to go to God. After that, is status bad. So you would have done what you are supposed to do within that period stipulated by law for you to go to court. And so anybody assuming office on the 29th of May cannot use that as an excuse to say, yeah, he said because they took me to tribunal and that's why I failed the Rivers people. I mean, you can tell that to the market women. No reasonable people will believe you that this is what because you went to court, they took you
apologies,
to court.
Market women. Some of you are also intelligent.
Sorry, apologies.
It's just a phrase.
I just use it metaphorically.
Yes, metaphorically.
Sorry, please about that. So what I'm saying is that it is not an acceptable argument. For me, it is a lame argument. It does not follow logically the fact that. But you already know, as a politician, as a politician at the gladiatorial level, that after election, the Constitution provides there's a period where those who feel aggrieved, those who are not comfortable with the outcome of the elections, will have to approach the tribunal and possibly to the courts. It's there in the Constitution. So you don't have to give excuse that because they took me to court, I was distracted, and so also consider the fact that it is tampered. You have time limit for nothing about 29, you'll be sworn in definitely. And before now, you have your party manifesto, if you have really. You have those things you think you can do, the policy trusts. So you start implementation. Going to court does not distract you from doing anything. And I think that it just defeats its ideology. Because if you actually understand why you were voted, assuming you were voted really into office, from the moment you are sworn in, you swing into action. Because you have the interest of the people at heart.
So you don't think that Senator Magnus Abe withdrawing now might have some sort of implication for other political parties who are at the tribunal? We know the APC is at the tribunal. Even in the APC, we've had certain divides now and issues going on with the leadership of the APC. And during the time, I was speaking with one of the APC chieftains, Tony Okocha, who had said that, well, the APC is not at the tribunal. It is a man in the APC that is at the tribunal. That the APC did not go to court. He says is the leader of the party now. So there's also that tussle going on. And how do you think what Abe has done now would it affect the weight that other political the case of other political parties have? Because now you even hear the PDP has responded. The PDP publicity secretary Sidney Bara has responded and said this is good. Another political party should do this because clearly he thinks from his perspective, clearly maybe Abe has seen that these people won correctly and there's no case, I have no case, so what's the point? How do you think it would influence the case of other political parties?
Well, different persons have different views, opinions, and approaches to issues. For other political parties, that may not mean that they can also withdraw their case because they have their own understanding and perspective of what transpired. He who wears the shoes knows where it pinches him. So they know how they have fared, during the elections. So it's not going to be automatic that because Abe has withdrawn his case, and so you expect other political parties to do same. They have different circumstances and different views and how the election affected them really. And again, you also consider the fact that in some other political parties, you also have in-house fighting. Okay. So those schisms within the party will actually affect what the kind of understanding and perspectives. So for me, it's not automatic because Abe, in the first instance, did they have any agreement? Were they in agreement when they went to the tribunal in the first instance? No. So it's not very automatic. But I think that what really is important, like I said earlier, is the fact that if you have grievances, you approach the court. It's a normal thing. It's part of the democratic process. So for anybody to see it from the point of view of the fact that, look, because I went to court, I am looking for trouble. I am fomenting trouble. I am trying to truncate the development process of the rivers. That is bad. That is not an acceptable reason. If really you are in tandem with the spirit and letters of the Constitution, which provides that the judiciary is one of the pillars, veritable instruments of democratic process. Except because these days in Nigeria, people misconstrue a lot of issues, especially when it has to do with elections and democratic process. The judiciary is there. Let's believe that the judiciary is independent, really, and that it's going to do what it's expected to do. justice will not only be served, but will be seen to have been served. You know, and when the court decides, it's believed that you have justice.
Is it also possible? Now, this is not what Abe said, but if we're going to want to look at the Nigerian system of politics, and people are trying to look beyond what was stated by the candidate of the SDP, to think beyond and say maybe there were other reasons that he could not say publicly. And one of them many would point out would be maybe he doesn't have enough trust that the judiciary would come through, even though at different times, even when I spoke with him, he has said, well, even if the judiciary is where you still have to go to, the court is still where you have to go to, whether you like it or not. But could that be a reason why one would decide to say, I want to withdraw from the tribunal? Maybe because you do not think that the judiciary would give fair hearing to the matters and justice at the end.
Well, I think that Magnus Abe is not a child. He has been a politician. He has been pulling up, and he's aware of the judicial process in this country. And so, if he's aware of the fact that, for instance, that the judiciary may not serve the justice he wants, so why approach the judiciary in the first instance? Why did you go to the tribunal in the first instance? You know, and if you also believe that we are going to make peace, we are going to ensure that there is peace. So why did you start the trouble in the first instance? So I think that, you know, sometimes these are some of the shenanigans of Nigerian politicians. And like some of the writers, some of those who sent in their mail said, there could be other reasons. I mean, there is more that meets the eye that we can see now at this present dispensation. Because for any person to say, because I am withdrawing my case because I want peace, it's contradictory for me.
Some of the messages, HM Chifueze says maybe the senator has been settled. Kerry and Wickboy Emmanuel says, good morning. Court process is something beyond just mere say. You need evidence. Remember, the PDP blocked INEC office, not allowing opposition parties get access to relevant documents. This was something that also, when I spoke with him, I asked him. And he said, well, INEC had promised to work with them. I said, did you eventually, now you filed the tribunal, what did you file the case with?
Yeah.
Did you have access to, we said, because for you to have, I said, well, what they have was enough for them to go file a case, which also now brings us to, if that was the reason, maybe not enough fact because maybe you did not have access to these documents, shouldn't that have been what he would have said in his statement that, well, this we withdrew because we feel we did not get access to enough materials required to be able to, you know, make a good case for ourselves.
And these are speculations.
All speculations now.
Speculation because we needed Abe to actually tell us the truth. You know, because for me, for him to hide under the guys that he wants peace in Rivers State, it's not enough for me. It's not a good reason, you know, because in the first instance, the position of the law going to court, why do you go to court in the first instance? You go to court because you want to resolve an issue. You want justice to be served. And when justice is served, it brings about peace.
But some people think this might even hamper his political career, because some people are now saying this is a process that you have said wasn't fair at all, and then this is the one chance you have to go and ensure that the right thing is done, and now you're pulling out of it. People just might not take you seriously another time. Do you see this as being some sort of threat to his political career in the future? Do you think people would take him seriously going forward?
Yeah, I think it's going to have that kind of impact, you know, where I want to also believe that most of his followers will be disenchanted, will be disappointed, especially when they are also aware, those foot soldiers, when they are aware of what transpired during the election, they may be, you know, disenchanted and may decide to take a different position, maybe in the next dispensation. But like I said earlier, Magnus Abe is not a child. He should be able to tell us this is the reason why. For him to hide under the guise of saying that because he wants peace, who is actually looking for trouble? Is it that the judiciary was created for trouble, to foment trouble, so that anybody that goes to court or tribunal is going to foment?
But I mean, we saw the tribunal relocating to Abuja, and they gave insecurity as a reason.
If tribunal is relocated,
so it's almost as though the tribunal was set up, insecurity started. That's how it was made to look like.
We need to give some clarifications. You know, sometimes when abnormal situations seem to be prevailing, people take it as a normal thing. The environment plays a very important role. There is environmental determinism and there is environmental possibilism. If we're in a place, and we were talking about peace, an agency, an institution that is also instrumental to peace, is saying that I cannot operate in this kind of environment where there appears to be conflict, there appears to be, insecurity. So what's wrong with that? And so let me go to a place where I can perform optimally. That's the issue. So if you want that institution to perform its function, then provide the enabling environment, the basic condition, which is peace.
But isn't that what Abe is saying? Peace, that's why we drew it, because maybe he feels
it's a
the environment
thing
that would enable this to work peacefully might not be there.
That's a different argument altogether. The fact that the tribunal has relocated to Abuja because of insecurity, for me, is a good consideration, because that institution cannot operate optimally to give out the justice it's supposed to give. So it has to move to a better, more secured environment. But for you to say that because you are withdrawing because you want peace, that institution you are approaching is an embodiment of peace. Because when issues are resolved, different persons, no two human beings are exactly the same. They have different interests. And a time comes when those interests can clash. And if nothing is done to checkmate, it can degenerate to conflict. And so that's why you have those institutions. Groups can have conflicting interests. Okay? Yeah. And so when that institution that serves as an umpire is not there, or is incapacitated by whatever means, then you expect that society will degenerate to the Obesian state of nature.
All right.
So it's important to understand that judiciary is there for peace. So anybody approaching the judiciary, from my understanding, is also actually suing for peace.
All right. Let's take a few more messages. We'll talk about the transition committee, though. But before we come to that, HM Chifueze says, Okay. Livingstone Otiasa. The biggest problem we have in Nigeria is our judicial system. Manipulation of malpractice started in the judiciary. Nigerian judiciary has failed us in different perspectives. So Magnus Abe might have a filler and have decided to withdraw for the interest of the state. Let other political parties follow suit and let peace prevail over violence. Let's give peace a chance. Kudos to Senator Abe. Simon Joel says it's probably been given settlements. Eventually, none of them have the interest of the people. That's also another speculation. This person on WhatsApp, quite a number of messages. Good morning, Andrew and the guest. I'm surprised that APC supporters are angry and mocking. I think the APC and other gubernatorial candidates should be delighted with the withdrawal. One challenge petitioners face is the maximum 180 days the tribunal would seat. One petitioner has 180 days. Two petitioners would share 180 days, implying 90 days each. The more petitions, the fewer days you have. Meaning, in theory, the remaining petitioners now have more days to prove their case. This is Michael from Okrika. That's one way to look at it. More time for the ones that are remaining to, and then it gives the tribunal even more time to be able to less work. You focus on just the fewer ones left. Good morning, Fiemi. I have known along that Magnus Abe is just a distraction. Eventually, he's been promised what he's looking for. Now he's withdrawing because he doesn't have the interest of the people, not because of the peace. Let your guest say, like your guest said, going to court is not war. The perceived winners and INEC said we should go to court. I believe Abe withdrawing his case from tribunal is okay, and your guests forget that the president-elect and Abe are working together. So PDP delivered the state for his boss, Sonny from Ajip. This is another postulation many people have put together, and I looked at it too. Abe has not said anything of such, but then many would say, well, we know you have political affiliations with the president-elect, while he was even in the APC before moving to the SDP. And the fact that, well, the PDP in Rivers State supported a southern candidate. They've not outrightly said they supported the APC. They keep saying southern candidate. So I'll use their words. Southern candidates that eventually saw the APC candidate emerge as the winner. Some people now would postulate and say perhaps then it makes no sense for Abe to want to go against the PDP in the state when technically they supported the southern candidate that led to whoever he's supporting at the national level, whom in this case would be the APC president-elect, Bola Tinubu. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think that if you say technically go against PDP in the state, I'm not sure he has done that, if that's his interpretation.
Or maybe at that time they're not supporting, they're not sharing the same interest.
Yeah, because he was a member of APC.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to believe that...
but many APC people still accuse him for them not being able to have won the election because he stood firm against some of the decisions that the party took at the time, if you remember.
Well, I don't see that as...
Some people even accused him of being some sort of mole working for the PDP at the time he was in the APC.
And like I said, these are different speculations that, naturally will come up. But I think that Ab initio, he has worked technically against the party, because I want to believe that the national leadership of the party, APC, may have taken a position on who becomes the gubernatorial candidate of APC in Rivers State, which I think he was against that, and that informed his pulling out because of his ambition to become the governor of Rivers State. So he pulled out. So how do you interpret that? So what I'm saying is that ab initio, he technically fought against his own party. One had expected that if that was not favorable to him, he would have remained and contributed to the success of his party, APC, in Rivers State.
At the time?
At that time, yes. So for him to begin to tell us at this point in time that, or anybody to begin to speculate that he just wanted not to fight against a party that had arrangement with his own party, for me, it's not sequitur. It doesn't follow.
Let's go to the phone lines now. 0817-923-0009. 0817-923-0007. Very straight question we're asking. Other political parties, if not going to the tribunal, or withdrawing petitions from the tribunal and not going to court, does it really foster development and peace? Would it foster development and peace in Rivers State? That is the question that we're asking you this morning. Good morning, Andrea. For this one says, if I'm Abe follower, I will never support him again because he has betrayed them. Tessie from Iwo, Madam Tessie from Iwofe, you sent in that message. David is in Yenegua. David, good morning. You're welcome. Straight to the point, please.
Yeah, greetings from the city of Yenegua.
All right, David, go on.
Sincerely speaking, if you ask my opinion, I want to say emphatically that Senator Magnus Abe is being very, very sarcastic. It is laughable looking at the kind of watery excuses he's giving to us. For anybody that cares to listen, this is just the game plan. And it's all about, when you had Tony Okocha as your guest, Tony Okocha made one statement that he's the leader of the party, that there is no former governor, there is no minister. So as a result of that, he assumed the leader of the party. And when you look at it also again, that some people are also coming through the back door. And Tony Okocha is being used to prepare for those people that are coming through the back door to come and assume the leadership of the party. Magnus Abe has edged himself out of the party. And if he does not remain in that SDP, Social Democratic Party, where he went to, himself and the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, will have it log ahead in the APC. You take it or you leave it. The former governor is directly coming into APC to become the leader of the party. That is why they were making an attempt to suspend Rotimi Amechi and the likes. But anyway, let us see how the drama plays.
All right.
Magnus Abe is very funny, and I don't think any of his followers will take him serious again. That today he will renege to come and tell us because of peace. Anyway, let's see where the peace he's talking about will lead into.
All right,
maybe he will be a commissioner in this ESCO. Now, for members of the opposition party becoming members of the transition committee or whatever, I think no serious party member who is in the tribunal will want to go and assume membership of the transition committee. It's all about the Tony Okocha people that will be members of that transition committee, preparing the way for their leader, Nyesom Wike, to quickly come into the party APC. Already has gone to meet the president-elect. So as time goes on, don't be surprised when you wake up to hear he is the leader of APC, the cancer he talked about. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Letambari and Bori. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. You see me, Andrew.
Letambari, you're welcome. Go on.
Yeah. Let me react to what your guest in the studio was saying as regards to the Labour, saying they score Buhari low, and he is saying they score Buhari very low. To me, I want to say that it is Labour that is the worst low in their responsibility or their activities. Did you know, at the regard of what Labour has done, the workers in Rivers State, from the LGA level to the state civil service, have not been able to receive their minimum wage. You can see states outside Rivers State who their IGRO is not even up to 50% of Rivers State, are paying 40,000 naira for minimum wage. Let me tell you, if you mean, I am using this to bet you. Write it somewhere, and I'm betting the man in your studio. Everybody is of the fact that Sim Fobra is of the workers' interest. I want to put it to you that Sim Fobra will take over office, and nothing about minimum wage from the local government workers to the state civil service will be implemented. Nothing.
All right, Letambari, thank you very much. Susie Zinerema. Oh, we lost the call from Susie there.
Good morning.
Susie, there's a
good morning.
beep in the background. We might have to call back. Susie, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh, my goodness. Susie, please, you have to call us back. We're having some sort of beep in the background. We have a very short commercial now, and we'll be back in less than a minute to continue with the conversation, take a few more of your calls as we attempt to wrap things up. When we return, my guest will tell us his view about APC members being part of the transition committee. I mean, we heard one of the callers' position about it and what he thinks and who he thinks are those that are there. Well, we'll find out more when we return. And is it just APC members? What about other opposition political parties in the state? Don't they deserve to be members of the transition committee? All of that we'll find out before we wrap things up this morning. Stay tuned for a very short commercial. Info PH on Twitter. 0817-923-0009, 0817-923-0007. Those will be the phone numbers that you can call to be a part of the conversation this morning. To my guest, Dr. Emmanuel Wonah, quickly, the makeup for Transition Committee. Questions that we have for opposition political parties, APC members precisely, and no other political parties were mentioned, not SDP, not Accord, not Labour. What's your view on it?
First, I don't think. I think this morning the governor was saying that even other political parties, not specifically APC.
Well, but the one that was first mentioned was the APC. So even if we have others. the idea for some people it would be a shift in the political system or kind of politics that we've seen in the past couple of years.
Well, let's for the purpose of this discussion, because you just brought it in, but I know that the governor was talking about other political
parties, but focusing on the APC.
Yeah, you see, after elections, whether rightly or wrongly, and the winner says, please come, let us see how we can do this together. I think that for me, it's a welcome development, because if you, ab initio, have the interests of Rivers State, by contesting an election, you want to improve, and somebody is also, you didn't get that opportunity there, and somebody is offering you the opportunity, I think it's honorable for you to also render your service. Like those of us who are not politicians, if the new government comes and say, well, come, let us reason together, like the Bible said, why not? If you actually have the interest of Rivers State at heart.
All right.
So I think that is something we need to build on, because after elections comes governance, and every hand must be on deck. But I want to say that it should not just be at the level of a transition committee. We've had issue. We have a case in this country, in the First Republic, where the government and the center have tried to form a coalition government, brought in other political parties to be part of it. I want to believe that it's going to be something we need to sustain, so that this kind of unhealthy rivalry and animosity, we'll need to nip it in the bud, so that we can move ahead as a people.
All right, quickly, let's get for Justice and Umudioga. Justice, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
All right, go on.
Yes, my greetings, special greetings to your guest. Andrew, I know you can confirm with me that before now, Magnus has confirmed that they told him he will come third in the governorship election. He was even told that he is not serious and he did not come with the mentality to win. Now, the same person they accused of that thing is coming back to withdraw the petition he filed at the tribunal, which means what people told him before the election, they have been vindicated. And he's coming to say that he did so as a result of his followers. How many people did that news consult before he read the petition at the tribunal? Did he go to the grassroots to consult anybody? Maybe if he consulted anybody,
well, he spoke with the leaders of the party.
You've forgotten people in the village. You've forgotten people at the grassroots, which are the people that make a good number of the people that are to be governed. So I think Magnus is not being. I think he's being economical about the truth.
All right,
and
Justice.
I just gameplay over what has happened. Thank you. My name is Justice.
Thank you very much, and that is how we wrap things up on the Morning Cross today. Dr. Emmanuel, thank you very much for being a part of the conversation this morning.
Thank you, Angie.
All right, the news at 9 is next, and afterwards, Hello Port Harcourt comes your way with Jude. My name is Ifeami Andrew on all social media platforms. Ifeami Andrew Official on Instagram and on Twitter. Good morning. Enjoy your holiday.
That was an infomercial.